My name is Don Carter, and I'm on the faculty of the School of Architecture. I teach urban design, Master of Urban Design. I also do research for the Remaking Cities Institute, and I consult with the university on all the new building projects that are going on campus. Well, I was a student here in 1966. I graduated in 1967, and we had a ball there. It was called the Super Ball, and the theme was pop art. And then 12, 13 years later, there was another ball, and the theme was black and white, and I came as an alum. And 2 years later, there was another ball called the Fantastique Ball, and I came as an alum. And then there was a kind of hiatus till 2006, and I came back again as an alum. Yes, I was on the committee. I was actually treasurer of the Beaux Arts Ball in those days. And this is a photograph of me at the corner of Morewood and Forbes Avenue. And I'm holding a sign that says, "Want a $5 high." That's the price of the tickets. And I was wearing a Mexican sombrero, a red bathrobe. I had a pet pig, and my friend had a fur coat on. One of the most memorable things, because it was pop art, right above the dean's office, there's a balcony. And we strung a wire from there to the front door. And the band was actually playing above the front door on a bandstand. And at midnight, Miggs Burroughs, who was one of our classmates, came out dressed as Batman and flew down the wire to the end place over there. So there was a lot going on. That was a pretty wild one. There was a lot of drugs at that point. You know, it was people coming high or getting high when they were there. So there wasn't really another Beaux Arts Ball until 1979. So a bunch of us, mainly architecture graduates, 15 of us, we decided we would go as a group costume, black and white. And our theme was to be a chess set. So we had 2 white pieces and 15 black pieces. We needed one more student, alum, to make the 16th, but we didn't have it. So my wife and I are fairly tall, so we were the black and white queen. And then behind us was the black and white queen, and then there were the 8 pawns, although only 7, and then all the other pieces. These were all the pieces on the back rank from the king and queen all the way to the rook. And then we had 7 small women as the pawns. And we made their head dresses out of plastic balls that we painted black, and then they had black shrouds on them. And here they are with their faces revealed. We went up to the architecture office on the 2nd floor of CFA, and we took our costumes off. And we had other costumes on underneath. And we went back into the crowd. So everybody's saying, well, what happened to the chess set? It was like a mystery. And every hour we would go back up, put on our costumes, and process around. And the third time we did it, one of the jurors who was judging costumes said, "You can't just keep disappearing. You know, we want to give you an award, so we're giving you awards like at 1 o'clock. Make sure you come back." Full of ourselves having won one grand prize, we said, what if we tried it again and came back as a collective costume? What could we do this time in kind of fantasy? We said, we'll be a Chinese dragon. There was a picture in the Post-Gazette of us providing around. And I've got pictures of us here actually making it, and some pictures of us. This gives you an idea of the scale. There's a woman in costume next to us. And here I am, I'm in the head holding this thing up, and we were just processing all the way through. And one interesting anecdote is that a woman's sorority had decided they were going to be a Chinese dragon as well. And so they were already processing around, and they were much shorter. They didn't have a big constructed head. And when they saw us go by, they just ditched their costume. So we had some fun doing that too. My wife and I went as the shadow, and she went in a kind of white Elvis costume, and I've got some pictures of that as well. So that was a fun thing, and we didn't win any prizes, or there were much better people than us in the prizes. It was a great costume of two guys wearing one half the tuxedo on the top half, and the other one had the tuxedo on the bottom half. That was really a neat costume. I don't know whether they won or not. So it was fun, and I'm not sure how many more Beaux Arts balls were after 2006, but I know there were at least one or two more. We didn't attend those, but we're going to come back. Maybe we'll come back as a group.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait to see what the theme is. I understand it's a secret. Lots of creative costumes and good music and a range of music, some good food, and make sure that the alums and the faculty come, because they always have a good time, and it's good to be, it creates the community of the College of Fine Arts. Well, first of all, it's an historic tradition. Henry Hornbostel, who was the first head of the School of Architecture, had a Beaux Arts Ball. But the Beaux Arts Ball traditions go back, a lot of times started by architectural students in Europe and in New York City. And Henry Hornbostel said, we should have one here. In fact, he rode in on a donkey. I think he might have had a monkey on his back as well, on his shoulder or something like that. And people dressed up like famous buildings at these Beaux Arts Balls. So there's a historic tradition. And so the idea is there's the CFA community, and then there's the Carnegie Mellon community, the current generation, and then there's the alumni community. So it's three spheres of influence, and having everybody mix around in what's really a festive event and goes on for hours and hours. And that's the way it was planned. And I think each time it has its own magic, its own flavor, and people will remember them.